Hello, everyone, and welcome to It's 420 Wyoming. I am your host, Red Hawk, and today is going to be the final episode of the series. So I'm going to do a quick end of the year recap. And here's my guest, Bennett. How's it going, Bennett?
Hey, it's going all right.
Well, a lot has happened this year. I have a slides I can put up and we can talk about it. All right. End of year recap. Here we go. Oh, medical value acknowledged. That's pretty good. I like that.
Yeah.
So there was this presidential executive order to reclass cannabis to Schedule 3. And what that means nationally is that there's going to be some tax relief and fairness done to people who, plant touching businesses are allowed normal business expense deductions for legal state cannabis businesses. So I think that just means that it's going to be a lot better for cannabis businesses to get expense deductions.
As long as they qualify.
As long as they qualify, yeah. And also, research barriers have been lowered. This should ease restrictions on scientific research and clinical trials. And we already have tons of research. That's true.
Exactly. Yep.
People have been doing research on cannabis for decades.
There's more research. If you do a PubMed search just for marijuana, you will find more peer-reviewed studies on that than you can on acetaminophen or ibuprofen.
Wow.
By many times. We're talking tens of thousands of articles. So it's a dearth of knowledge that we already have.
Okay, and Medicare pilot program. The executive order includes CBD reimbursement pilot program for Medicare patients. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that plays out.
And veterans in legal states will be able to discuss with VA the possibilities of using medical cannabis for medical conditions.
That's a big one because the veterans fall under the federal system and control. The VA can't currently recommend cannabis because it is a Schedule 1. So if the DEA accepts this edict to act like Biden did and like the HHS did, but they ignored. If they don't ignore it this time, then this will make a big difference for veterans because the VA can recommend it, and that federal allowance will be a huge deal to everybody who has served, and I see that as one of the more important things. Our veterans are some of the most likely to use cannabis as medicine, and it's important to me. It's important to so many people. Like that's a big deal.
Yeah. I think it's a lot better than some of the other pharmaceuticals that they get prescribed.
Oh, amen. If you can choose cannabis over zombie dope, I've seen veterans who have been through the whole zombie dope pattern, and it is brutal. What I would never take any of that cocktail because I've seen what it's done to men much stronger than myself.
And also, federal programs Schedule 1 drug usage will no longer be a barrier. I guess that just means that for federal programs, it's not going to be as big of a deal, I guess.
Yeah, if there is any federal programs that overlap with cannabis use, like say HUD housing, currently you can be denied federal housing if you are a medical cannabis user. But if it's changed to Schedule 3, then there is the possibility that people will be able to at least fight say eviction from HUD or other things along those lines within the federal programs.
Okay, gotcha. And the executive order does not federally legalize cannabis.
Nope. In fact, the controls on Schedule 3 drugs are not significantly lessened below a Schedule 1. It's just that there are doctors, pharmacies, and pharmaceutical production facilities that can be involved. So anybody who is caught with cannabis will still be prosecuted for having an illegal drug. It's it's fairly limited as far as general accessibility and freedom goes, and states will have to either realign their programs to match federal requirements or continue to be in defiance of federal law like they are now.
Yeah. And does not resolve banking challenges under BSA, the Bank Security Act.
Right. And this is an important one too, because all of these businesses, I mean, we're talking about businesses in the majority of Wyoming, the majority of US states. And these businesses can't utilize the banking system the way an average person can. So it winds up being a cash only business, which is dangerous. It's a headache for all of these small businesses to have to take in only cash and then manage that flow basically on a daily basis. As far as getting it out of there, you can't use a credit card. It's painful for consumers. Loans are not impossible, but you have to find banks that are willing to basically ignore the current federal status, and most banks will not. In fact, while I was trying to find a bank just to use for Wyoming Normal's activism work, most banks wouldn't even work with us just because we had marijuana as part of the name in our organization. So being able to access the banks is so important to all of these small businesses across all of these states, and they need to address that. And the fact that this doesn't it's frustrating, but that's just a part of the fact that it's changing from, or not changing it. If this were to go through, the potential change from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3 just wouldn't resolve it on its own. That's a whole separate issue with a different branch of the government that has to process it differently, and currently they're not, so it will require acts of the government in order to change it.
I agree. And it does not enable interstate commerce.
Right. So
Yeah.
like the shop that I work for up here in Montana will not be able to supply medicine to a dispensary in Cody, Wyoming. Even if it was legal in both places, even if everybody was meeting all of the criteria necessary to be licensed and selling the product to the people who are licensed to have it, that barrier still exists, and breaking it is a federal crime. So that's one more thing that has to be changed if it is moved to a Schedule 3.
Mm-hmm. And it does not impact law enforcement approach to arrest. Ooh.
Right, exactly. See, they can make this change. A year from now, the DEA can give up the fight and say, okay, we're going to reschedule to Schedule 3, and nothing will change in Wyoming. Because of the laws in Wyoming, if it were rescheduled, then Wyoming would have to either agree to go along with the Schedule 3 or present arguments in court as to why they want to maintain the Schedule 1 status. Now, regardless whether they argue and succeed and maintain Schedule 1 or move it to Schedule 3, any person caught with it who does not, fall within the legal criteria and have the licenses and everything will still get busted and still be put in jail and still be fined, and all of the, the garbage that comes along with having an illegal controlled substance. It's a Schedule 3 instead of a Schedule 1, but it's, as far as anyone who isn't licensed is concerned, that will stay the same, and law enforcement will continue to do their jobs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it does not affect that adult recreational use remains federally illegal.
Right. See, what will happen if it becomes Schedule 3 is that any of these dispensaries that are currently selling state-level adult use cannabis, they will now be in violation of the federal law about distributing Schedule 3 substances. Schedule 3 substances are highly controlled. They're produced only in licensed pharmaceutical production facilities, only distributed through licensed pharmacies to people with prescriptions from licensed doctors. So there's all kinds of licensing involved. There are many steps that all of these businesses are not going to be able to do. And even if they do, it's going to keep them limited to being within those federal statutes or continuing like they are in defiance of the federal statutes. So not much would change in that regard.
Yeah. I mean, I'm all for getting it totally legalized. That way we don't have to worry about all these legal loopholes that we have to jump through.
Exactly. If tobacco and alcohol are not in the drug scheduling, the federal drug scheduling and state drug scheduling, then cannabis definitely shouldn't be either. It's not as intoxicating, it's not as harmful, and it has so many medical benefits that it's absolutely insane to think that it should be treated more harshly than either of those two commonly available chemicals.
Yeah. So Wyoming state level, if the Trump administration completes the reschedule, okay, Wyoming Attorney General has 30 days to match Wyoming's drug list, or it will announce why he won't.
Exactly. And then it's the challenge in court.
Mm-hmm. And he must publish a reason for objection and give all interested parties a chance to discuss it at a hearing.
Yep. Exactly. And with the amount of evidence that exists, any unbiased judge would surely see that there is no reason to maintain a Schedule 1 status. It just doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm. All right. So what's next? The DEA must now complete formal rulemaking with timing uncertain and legal changes already underway.
Right. I think I alluded to this before. Biden, during his presidency, instructed the DEA to re-examine the scheduling of cannabis, and they stalled. They put it off. They challenged it in court, and eventually it disappeared. The Health and Human Services did the same thing. DEA played the same game. So they might choose to listen to this presidential request, but they might also choose to stall, delay, challenge in court, and do nothing.
Mm-hmm. And we need to get ready to discuss at state level hearings.
Constantly. That's the issue that we've been preaching for over a decade since I've been here. We continually need to have our state level representatives engaged and attempting to represent the majority of people in the state who are requesting access to cannabis, either as adult use or medical. And this just gives more ammunition, were it to pass. Until it passes, there's nothing we can say. But if ultimately throughout the process it is moved into a Schedule 3, then we can say, look, the feds are saying that this has medical utility. You need to agree. That means we need to have access. That means we need to have a system. So do it.
Mm-hmm. And meanwhile, the top federal prosecutor in Wyoming announced on September 29th that marijuana offenses in federal jurisdiction in the state will now be rigorously prosecuted.
Right, because the people using cannabis in federal parks are such a threat to everybody. We've really got our priorities straight here. I can tell.
Yeah.
Oh, that's I'm being facetious for those of you who aren't getting it.
Okay. The interim U.S. Attorney Darren Smith emphasizes that marijuana possession is still a federal crime. He noted that rescheduling the drug could change some federal penalties, but we are waiting for guidance.
Exactly. The only time that would make a difference to a federal prosecutor is if the individual who is busted has all of the proper licensing to have the cannabis under federal and state laws. And then it's still going to be a challenge in court because apparently they want to aggressively pursue this.
Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot of stuff going on right now. And I'm glad I get to talk to somebody as knowledgeable as you about it, because you make a lot of sense.
Oh, well, I'm glad I can do that.
And I think now is a very important time for people to really tune in and do more research about Wyoming NORML and kind of join the group and help us out. And also,
oh yeah, the fight is far from over. Don't think that even if this changes to Schedule 3, that we aren't going to have a significant battle ahead, because we are. We've seen throughout the years, it's just like pulling teeth with the legislature, and even when the population gets together and provides signatures in evidence of their support, the people who have the ability within the halls of government will straight pull the rug out from under us. So we have to keep the pressure up and get them on board, and God knows what that's going to take.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And we really do need all the help we can get, because whenever it's just a few people fighting the fight, that's when they can really crack down hard, lock us up, silence us, censor us. But they can't do that if we get, a critical mass going.
Exactly. And remember that there's already a documented majority of Wyomingites that support adult use. and over 85% that support medical. So you're not alone. You're not speaking against a herd. You're speaking with the herd against the outliers. So don't be afraid. I've been doing it for 17, 18 years, and it hasn't cost me. So I'm telling you, speak up, do it. Speak to your representatives, speak to your senators, speak to your neighbors, speak to your family, speak to your friends. It's not something that you need to be afraid of. I assure you.
Yep. Well, on that note, I'd like to thank you for being on the final It's 420 Wyoming, Bennett.
Absolutely. Thanks for doing this, Red Hawk.
Thank you. And to the viewers out there, thank you so much for watching. Thank you. Red Hawk out.